What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, happy Monday, dude. How's the weekend?
Oh, I've been lost in the land between, some might call it, the trek to Yomai.
How's that going?
Played through that on hard mode. I'm very happy to report that I beat it yesterday.
Nice.
And then immediately started an ultra hard mode playthrough.
No.
One hit kills all. There isn't even a health bar.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. That's that'd be a tough battle. How far did you get so far then in the beginning?
I think I'm into chapter 2 now. So I speed through now, but I have a couple tips coming up in some videos we'll be releasing this week, because I may have found a little bit of a way to not cheese it. But
yeah, it sounds like you're cheesing it. Dude, everybody can be joining us live just like your Doom Guide is right now over on twitch.tv/the official ITG at 11 a.m. Eastern, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, Xbox Series X DRM concerns are popping up for the future of the console. Xbox streaming only console rumors are starting up once again. And will Sony just buy Xbox already, or buy Square Enix already? Dude, can you imagine if they bought Xbox? That'd be a game changer.
Now you're making jokes that I've made over the years. When's Nintendo gonna buy Sony?
That's right. Yeah, let's get into it, man. As Xbox Series X DRM makes certain games completely unplayable offline. Comes from Kevin over at Game Rant. Digital rights management has been an ongoing point of contention between console makers and gamers, for stricter policies became more common over the last decade. Stricter DRM stances by Microsoft and Sony coincide with an increasing digital marketplace and streaming points like Xbox Game Pass growing in popularity, but can also handcuff console owners' ability to enjoy their games. This appears to be the case when the Xbox Series X, after one YouTuber found how the system's DRM policy restricted the ability to play games. Scott, that is not a cool thing, man.
No, this was a huge wave that hit everybody. I think it was Saturday morning.
Right.
Huge disruptions, and you just couldn't start a game. At first, I kind of dismissed it. I thought, this isn't really a big deal. And then it hit me.
It did. So I got hit too. It was, for me, I think it was Friday night. I sat down. I think it was Friday night. I sat down, went to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Dude, I owned the game and it wouldn't let me play it.
Yeah.
It kept popping up, frozen. You have to go to the store in order to purchase. I'm like, nope, I did buy this.
I've had that issue many times, actually, but once or twice, and it'll just let me through. But this was not the case.
Dude, I restarted my Xbox, went back in, it happened again. Then it went to the load screen, kicked me out. Then I went back in and it finally started working again. I was like, what is going on? But the issue was first shared by YouTuber Modern Vintage Gamer, who broke down how difficult the Xbox Series X's DRM policy is making it to play certain games on the system. The first breakdown, however, how physical games are being impacted by the DRM policy, specifically backwards compatible titles. MVG explains the system reads physical Xbox 360, and Xbox One games as a physical license, and the games need to be downloaded to the system. However, if the user is not connected to Xbox Live or has the system set to their home console, they will be unable to play the game. Dude, this came up with, I believe they started trying Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, and that's kind of where it started, everything from there.
Well, I don't believe it was Devil May Cry's fault, though. This is some sort of weird issue with Xbox Live, and I'm not certain if there's been a cause really discovered or mentioned yet. Was this a DDoS attack? Is this just some sort of bugs happening in the background? I'm not certain, but what it has shown is that there's a big open weakness.
Absolutely.
It made me really mad, and there's a lot of people talking about, well, don't I own the disc? I bought this title versus Game Pass.
Sure.
For myself, I bought Mass Effect. Why can't I play Mass Effect?
No, absolutely. They went into how the DRM policy is impacting digital purchases and downloads from the Xbox Marketplace and Xbox Game Pass. The MVG coincides that DRM policy in place makes sense when Xbox Game Pass our users essentially download a license for an available game for the subscription gaming service, and users would lose access if they canceled their subscription. Makes total sense, right? That's how that service works altogether. However, games purchased and downloaded directly from the Xbox Game Store are suffering from the Xbox Live connectivity restriction. The only games which don't appear to be suffering from these restrictions are physical, native Xbox Series X games. The example MVG provided was Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, as they had it installed and ready to go, and then it just didn't work, right? And again, going back to the download for me, myself, as a Friday night with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and even Nate pipes up, said Friday it started and went all weekend. So, that's an issue.
It was hit or miss. Like, I was affected for approximately 6 to 8 hours, and then I was okay otherwise. But it would not start anything except for Modern Warfare. I could play Call of Duty Modern Warfare online only because that's what I have downloaded. And it was the most awful half-loaded game I've ever played. There's big shipping containers were absolutely invisible, but people are jumping on top of them, shooting through that. It was the biggest mess.
Scott, does this make you concerned at all moving forward with the future of video games in our industry? The fact that we're going so digital, right? It's just a matter of flicking on and off a switch, and all of a sudden we're just disconnected. We can no longer play our games, right?
I think this signals that there has to be some sort of a change. Maybe DRM is necessary in some cases, just the same as if I sign onto Halo, I'm on the Halo servers. That has to have a connection. But there has to be some sort of change, because going forward, we can't have this. And what if this opens the door for, as people suggest, the console wars? That's the first thing that people go off about. Where was this energy during GT7 going down? Well, that had a little bit more to do with the game, I believe. But also, what if you do have bad actors in the space? I can disrupt Xbox for an unknown amount of time. It drops people's trust in that service.
No, it does, right? Nate chimes in again and says our good friend Lucas couldn't play anything on his PC or Series X. Only Xbox One X and a few games on his wife's profile. Farm together, laugh out loud, he says. They need to stop it. Absolutely, dude. This is definitely a concern moving forward, right? Especially as we transition so heavily into the world of digital. I don't remember the last time I actually had a physical copy of a game, because I just don't want to take up all that clutter, man. The amount of games we play, even if I
have so many digital versions of the games I already own too. So.
Well, there's that as well. But dude, my library is so packed. And if I can't access that game, then what's that mean for the future? And then, who comes in the back of our minds is our good friend Northern Nerdcast, Brad, as he's such a physical guy, right? He wants everything to be physical because he just wants to throw it in and go. But if you're still not connected online, it doesn't matter, right? And that's the biggest thing. Everything needs to be connected.
Didn't we discover this in the E3 way back, that nobody wanted a constant internet connection? I thought we had already defeated that beast. But what happened was I was locked out. I tried playing Modern Warfare. I thought, no, this isn't playing a game. This is the game playing me. So I tried to load up Halo. It didn't work, and ended up actually going outside for about 4 hours. It turned out to be a pretty good day. Surprising. They say that good old joke about touch of grass. Well, I can confirm, not bad.
It's not bad at all. Who's touching the solar system, though? It could be Xbox with their stream-only console, Scott. We're talking about DRM. Here's Xbox. Stream-only consoles reportedly coming soon. Microsoft plans to release a streaming device that will let people play Xbox games without a console in the next 12 months, VentureBeat reports. The device, which VentureBeat compared to an Amazon Fire TV or Roku, will allow customers to access the Xbox Game Pass library via Xbox Cloud Gaming along the streaming movie and TV platforms. VentureBeat additionally reports that Microsoft is working on a native app for Samsung smart TVs that will allow owners of these displays to access the Xbox cloud gaming service without having to buy the aforementioned standalone streaming device. We've heard rumbles of that now for a while, Scott, right? All about being connected to the TV. It's just a matter of what TV is it and where does it go from there?
Yeah, this is an expansion of play everywhere. And
Yep, it is.
I look to my TV. I have a Westinghouse. If anybody's ever, that's about a 200-year-old company, and it's not Samsung. So it looks like I'm out of luck. But what I'm curious is this going to move to other devices, like a Google Chrome, for example?
Well,
I have the Stadia Special Chrome.
Yeah.
That'd be excellent if I could use that to play and connect my controller to it.
well, that's their biggest push, though, right? Is Game Pass. They just want everybody to be able to play wherever you want and not have to worry about downloading anything. And again, this kind of goes, dude, falls into that DRM situation. If you're not connected, you're not going to get access to your games whatsoever, right? At least right now, we can download our games and, for the most part, be able to connect. And away we go. Moving into
I'm wondering
cloud
if there
service.
is much of a difference without the DRM issue
Wow.
resolved, because then in either case, I need an Xbox or an online connection. I mean,
No, and that's the other thing of it as well. How good is that connection, right? Not everybody has the high-speed internet, and they're still kind of struggling to have that device downloaded. So if you're going to go to the cloud, now, again, this will be for certain people with the ability to have a high-speed connection, just be able to plug it in. I have no issues here, but even I played Outriders with Nate not too long ago, and like Nate goes, "You want to play Outriders?" Yeah, I'll jump back in. Didn't have it downloaded, so I went to the cloud, played it via the cloud. Dude, I have good internet here, and it went like 720 and lower, but still the frame rate kept up with it. It just didn't look as nice, right? Now I have it downloaded. It's a whole different ballgame.
I'm not so certain. I'm not so certain that you do have the best internet, because anybody internally, this guy will send you a PNG and it'll seize up the whole internet for 20 minutes. But
sometimes I do wonder.
I'm on some Rogers business package, and it's said to have the best upload, and it's negligible difference. I really don't see. It's unlike, I have to throw a little bit on Nate here. It's unlike Nathan's McDonald's internet connection, but it's not much better.
Are you really that surprised, though, Scott, that they're moving into a streaming only platform?
No, not really. When they started dropping everything to the app on PC, I thought, okay, well, this is an interesting way. You can just take away the console. So it makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. Dude, it does fall in line, though, with Stadia, doesn't it? Like, they have a streaming only device, and here comes Xbox now, quickly on the heels of Stadia. And where's PlayStation at this point, right? We still haven't heard really what PlayStation's up to when it comes to their online stream. They have PlayStation Now getting bundled in with the PlayStation subscription model, and that's going to be a whole one package kind of thing, but it doesn't really seem to be that big competitor for what Xbox is really doing, and they're taking off in the streaming world now, getting involved and allowing them to be everywhere.
It feels like they're several years behind at least, but still significantly ahead of Nintendo, unfortunately. Nintendo's gotta get it together. The Switch began with a kind of, I don't want to use the term blockchain, but a kind of like everybody contributes to a hive mind that's able to cloud game, and I don't know whatever happened to that. It's been almost a decade, and I don't think we're getting that functionality.
No, Scott, you were just talking about PlayStation, so let's get into it. Sony could be looking to buy Square Enix. No kidding. This comes from David over at PSU. According to Greg Miller in the most recent PS I Love You podcast, he had heard from multiple sources that Sony was looking at buying Square Enix. Miller does qualify this, though, saying that he heard this rumor prior to the Embracer Group's announcement of its acquisition of Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and Crystal Dynamics. He explains that he's unsure if what he heard was meant Sony was also potentially up to acquire Square's 3 internal Western studios. So me and the prior, instead of Embracer Group, being Sony to purchase those up instead, Scott.
Well, it makes a lot of sense that it is the season. There's going to be a lot more acquisitions.
Dude, it is just non-stop right now, right? Quote, when I talked about the 3 rumors I had heard, and once was an acquisition, and the one was an acquisition, this was the one I had heard. I had heard that PlayStation was acquiring Square, and I had heard that from multiple different sources. Is it happening or is it not? Was it just scuttlebutt? You're hearing things third, fourth, fifth hand. Miller points out that the possibility of it is still real, in the sense that if 2022 has taught us anything, is to expect unexpected acquisitions, particularly big ones. We know that Sony is nowhere done with acquisitions, and with all the PS5 exclusive titles coming from Square, it could be very well on the table. Dude, that makes total sense. I would not be surprised now if Sony or PlayStation sweeps in here and scoops up the rest of Square Enix, right?
Well, it's funny. This really is the year of 2022. I just thought of it in terms of Elden Ring. It's almost like Square Enix is one of the Elden Lords. You'll know it's almost over when they're picked up, but I think the ultimate end game is Ubisoft. We talk about this a couple times a week now at this point, and you'll know that acquisitions are done when all 30 Ubisoft studios get picked up by somebody for an amount of money we don't have a number for yet. A Googleplex amount of money.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. So would you be surprised? I'm kind of thinking maybe now where Square has announced they've kind of the reasoning behind getting rid of, those three platforms, those three studios with IDOS and Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix Montreal, is that so they can line up into the blockchain and NFTs kind of scenario, right? I don't really know if they're looking now to sell over to PlayStation or not. I think it was rumors that when Embracer Group was coming, that there was a discussion with PlayStation and Embracer Group possibly, and I think that's kind of where it laid out. And then from there, it took over, went into Embracer Group. I think that makes a lot more sense. I don't think we will see Final Fantasy get purchased by PlayStation. They already have the partnership there with all of these exclusives lined up over at PlayStation. Why buy them then, Scott? You know what I mean? Especially when they're now talking about the blockchain.
Well, if they were moving to cause a bidding war, they didn't really hold steady with that one, because we see numbers with more zeros on the back of them for deals like this. But it is interesting. I think that was you that brought it up when they were selling these Western studios. Is that to align better with what PlayStation wants in terms of acquisition? But you're 100% correct. The home of Final Fantasy is on PlayStation. It might appear other places sometimes.
No, absolutely, right? Like, you only had Final Fantasy Remake on PlayStation. Like, I'm almost positive, right? That wasn't on Xbox. You couldn't get it there. And they're still waiting now for the sequel to come out on that one as well. And then you get Final Fantasy 16. Like, maybe PlayStation does want that, and they do come in and say, hey, you know what, you're already here. We might as well just kind of continue this partnership, but we'll get it to grow deeper, and we'll purchase you up and kind of bring you in under the house.
It does come for like a almost tit for tat kind of exchange here, where they go, okay, well, we have Bungie now. What are you going to do about it?
No, absolutely. So, but thing is, Microsoft right now is too busy with their the whole Activision thing that they can't even, toss out the idea of buying Square.
They purchased and then stepped into a quagmire.
They sure did. Dude, let's keep going with PlayStation content, though. New PS4 and PS5 console exclusive is officially dead. This comes from Tyler over at comicbook.com. The new PS4 and PS5 console exclusive is more or less officially dead. So far this year, PlayStation has released the likes of Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon Forbidden West, two massive exclusive games. These were first-party PlayStation exclusives, though, which are usually very high quality from the top to the bottom. Second and third-party exclusives aren't so reliable. Over the years, third-party and second-party deals have given PlayStation players exclusives and console exclusives like Persona 5, Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
I want to play Persona 5 so bad.
And Detroit Become Human. These various partnerships have also provided the likes of Babylon's Fall, which was released earlier this year via PC, PS4, PS5 from Square Enix and Platinum Games. The former has delivered some of the greatest games of all time over the years and many great PlayStation exclusives. Meanwhile, the latter is responsible for games and series like Bayonetta, Nier Automata, Astral Chain, and Vanquish. Platinum Games has delivered some classics since its inception in 2007, but the Japanese studio has also delivered some stinkers, such as The Legend of Korra, Star Fox Zero, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, and now Babylon's Fall. Babylon's Fall is an action RPG that was released back on March 3rd, 2022. Upon release, the game garnered Metacritic scores ranging from 40 to 46, Scott.
Ooh,
not a good score.
No, that was the first sign.
Yeah, depending on the platform. This not only makes it one of the biggest flops of the year, but given the context and who is involved, it makes it one of the biggest flops of all time. Ouch. Of all that said, it should come as no surprise that the game is already dead. At one point last week, the game had only one concurrent player on Steam, Scott. Meanwhile, it never managed to have more than 76 concurrent players on the platform at any point last week. It's dead on Steam. Now how the game is doing on PlayStation is yet to be known because PlayStation just doesn't give that information out. So, Scott, a brand new game, just only a few months out, already dead. The biggest thing is here, Babylon's Fall was supposed to be a live service game.
Oh yeah, I think they've canceled the plans for that one. If I had to guess,
that's
to put this in terms of Trek to Yomai, a little bit of Japanese that I picked up here, but Oma Uemo Shinderu, which means it doesn't even know it, but it's already dead.
Oh, well, there you go. It's oh man, we get in the big discussion, I think, of live service games, Scott, and I think that's kind of where it came down. But it didn't sound like it was a good start either for Platinum, which is funny. Platinum's got some of the best games ever made, and then they've got some of the worst games ever made. They're really kind of a hit or miss company, aren't they?
I believe, I have to make sure now, but I believe Dead Island is a Platinum game, and that's one of my favorite
Is it really?
series of all times. No,
Okay.
my mistake.
I was gonna say
Deep Silver.
So Deep Silver would be the publisher, right?
And developer in this case.
Oh, they did both? Really? Huh.
Yeah, Deep Silver Dam Buster Studios.
There we go. Yeah, Babylon's Fall, though, I know when previews started, people were lukewarm on the game, and then they were hoping they were going to be able to fix it and turn it around. And dude, it did not hit, right? It really just kind of flopped from there, which is unfortunate, Scott.
Oh, it's a bad sign for Halo.
Well, that's
Halo's kind of struggling to make it up the same hill.
Well, speaking of, Halo Infinite boss teases return of the classic Halo multiplayer maps. Maybe that'll help, Scott. This comes from Logan.
This is how you do it.
Oh, there you go. Right, the creative head of Halo Infinite at 343 Industries has seemingly teased that the ongoing multiplayer game could see the return of some of the most popular maps from previous Halo titles. The second season of Halo Infinite was just released by 343 a few days back, and within it, a couple of brand new maps were added to the game. Scott, have you checked out those maps yet?
I have, yeah. One was really nothing to write home about. The other one was very narrow, very vertical, and I actually really like it. I'm a fan.
Nice.
It reminds me of Midship from Halo 3, which is one of those you either love it or you hate it.
No, for sure. In a recent conversation with Kind of Funny, 343's Joseph Staten seemed to indicate that some of the most popular maps from Halo history could come to Halo Infinite down the road.
Oh,
quote,
I really hope so.
Well, I think we all have our personal favorites: Guardian, Blood Gulch, The Pit. There are a lot of maps that are awesome, right? I think it would be awesome to play on those again. Don't you guys?
Yeah, Valhalla, Sidewinder, Hang 'em High. I've got so many. You could do Rat Race even. There's a million different levels that it's staggering to me that they didn't include any of them already.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the struggle right now with the Halo Infinite multiplayer seasons going on. We're only into season 2, but yet it seemed to have lost its player base kind of not too long after the release of the multiplayer, right? It had such a fan favorite comeback, and all of a sudden from there, dude, it just went quiet, like really, really quiet with the continued struggles of, you know, new content, co-op. You get into the single player side of things, Forge mode, right? And I know Joseph also talked a little bit about Forge mode, looking to get in there. It's funny part is too, as they were talking, because I watched a bit of the Kind of Funny Xcast, and Joseph said the team's not happy with season 2. Like, they're really not happy with the state of the game overall, which is nice to know that they're just as displeased as the fans themselves and want to push it forward. Absolutely. So we'll see if they can turn it around, Scott. I think that's the biggest thing, is hopefully they'll be able to fix it, knowing and listening to all the feedback and where fans are. But the biggest thing, dude, bring back some of the best maps around, right?
It would be quite funny if they drop Forge, because you'll see everybody create the old maps.
Well, that's the other side of it, right? You get your community involved. They can help carry part of this game along, I think, where you can get the Pit, you can get Blood Gulch and all those, because people are dying for those maps to come back. But Scott, that's going to wrap up today's show, everybody. Just like that, we're over already again. More Halo news hopefully will be in the future. But this has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.